Hi, Sarah. You there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, can you hear me?
Having a little trouble hearing you today.
All right, your video isn't moving.
Give me 1 second.
There I am. Hi, everyone. If you can hear me and you've got some questions, go ahead, start listing them. And also, we're asking people when you post questions, if you're outside of Illinois, if you can say what state you're in. Thanks. And we're just waiting for Sarah to get back. So while we're waiting, if you can hear me, someone just recently asked, what do additional claims mean and no payment issued? So if you filed for unemployment more than once, you would have an additional claim. And if it's for PUA, you would have had a claim, a UI claim, and not be entitled to the PUA. So I don't know. And Chantel, that's under the federal law, you're only allowed one claim. And if you're entitled to unemployment benefits, regular unemployment benefits, then you're not entitled to the pandemic benefits. And so pending issue means that something's pending. It shouldn't take too long, though. So if you have a pending issue, and Angela, you clearly do, but if anyone has a pending issue and it's taking more than a few days, I try to call and find out to see if you get through. They apparently are overwhelmed, and I just want to make sure your claim doesn't fall through the cracks. If you just filed in the last few days, then that makes sense. And let me go over, for those that are listening, how the process happens. You file for unemployment benefits or PUA, and then what happens is they look into it and determine whether you're eligible or not. If your employer protests, and I'm hearing employers are protesting, then they may hold up on making a final determination. Although they should start sending funds into your account or your debit card. So, Sarah, are you back?
I think so. Hi, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you moving. Everything looks great.
Perfect. Okay. You give the husband a day off and the technology goes to the ringer for some odd reason. But I'm so excited to do this again with you. I know I've been off for a little bit, kind of taking care of some of the other stuff that was going on in my life, but I'm so glad to be back here. And today of all days, especially with the Restore Illinois plan kind of coming through, starting this Friday. Actually, I know. Where's my head? Starting on Friday, May 29th. We're going to be moving into phase 3 of our lives. Isn't that awesome? I mean, I think we were waiting for this and hoping and praying. And, I'm just going to read through a few of the bullet points, like high-level items on this. And then, Jeff, if you can kind of tell us how, what your vision, or how do you think that this will impact unemployment? So let me just tell you guys, the ones that are out there listening, Illinois is moving into phase 3. So that basically means that restaurants with outdoor seating will be opening up, barbershops, hair salons. Raza, you can go get your hair cut, and I can go get my nail did, and other personal care services will be allowed. All retail stores will be opening. Granted that, we're going to try to limit the amount of people that will be going in. So office buildings, manufacturing, outdoor fitness classes, yes. All of that stuff will be opening up again. Boating and camping up to 10 people. And thank God for golf courses, because sometimes it's really good to get away from Raza on the weekends. This will be awesome for us to have.
Which one of you golfs?
So we do this on purpose. We only have one set of golf clubs, and so that way we can only go one at a time away from one another. So this this is great news as far as I'm concerned today. I think I couldn't have asked for better news, only because of the amount of unemployed claims that seem to be coming through and through. The fact that we have so many different businesses that are opening, small businesses are allowed to be open up all over Illinois, I think will be awesome. What's your take on this, Jeff?
So, I usually only deal with the law. The golfing is already open. Being able to use golf carts are an advantage, because they're requiring pull carts now, and you can't buy a pull cart. So if you don't have one, you'll not get one. I'm hoping it helps. I know Indiana has, their restaurants are open. We've got parts of Illinois where the places, the bars, the restaurants are pretending like we're in phase 6. So I just hope no one gets ill and dies from this. But I think it's going to change unemployment. So once you're able to go back to work and we don't have the stay-at-home order, your ability to collect unemployment is going to change. So right now, because of the stay-at-home order, for those that can't go back to work, they're entitled to and eligible for unemployment and the PUA benefits. Once they're able to go back to work, they're no longer able and available by sitting at home. I don't know how that's going to play out with kids home from school until the school year's over. So we'll see how that works. And I'd probably do a little more golfing lately, Sarah, if it wasn't pouring and flooding.
With the amount of rains that we have had in our neck of the woods, along the DuPage Branch River, I think has been nothing as bad as 2013 was. Although 2020 did bring a lot of different challenges to a lot of people around here. So golf courses by today have kind of dried out. I'm not going to say that they look as completely wet and marshy as I saw them over the weekend, even like a couple days ago. So, you may actually have a good chance of going out there and getting some sun, at least tomorrow. Don't know what the rest of the rain will hold. Other than, the golf courses, I think what I'm really excited about is the restaurant businesses, right? So I know that a lot of the bars, some of the bars out there have been kind of operating in the mode that there is no coronavirus, there's nothing to that extent, just business as usual. But we do actually have quite a few of our businesses in the suburbs out here in Illinois that are adhering to this, strictly adhering to, the stay-at-home orders, and they cannot wait to get back out there. So right. I know as far as a rollout plan goes, a lot of the local mayors and trustees and, with Springfield, our representatives went back today, so that I feel that we're kind of coming out of May. I'm
One
sorry.
got thrown out.
One got thrown out.
Thrown out.
Oh,
did you hear about
tell
that?
me about this. Tell me about this. This is important.
So, and then we'll go answer questions. Sarah will introduce herself. I'll introduce myself. So, the first thing they voted on is for everyone to wear masks and social distant. They had some rules, some health rules that they entered, and it was Representative Bailey, I think that was his name, the first person to file a lawsuit against Pritzker. He
Right.
refused to put a mask on, so they removed him.
So this is no joke, you guys. I mean, we're doing this for everybody's health and benefit. So let's take it seriously until we're out of this crazy curve that we're in. So my name is Sara Sadat. I am a trustee here in Lisle. I work for a Fortune 500 company during my day job. I got 3 beautiful, lovely children. And you guys are most likely seeing Raza Siddiqui, my better half, doing a lot of these series with Jeff Jacobson. And, we needed to find something to do as we were at home. And we're just out there to make a difference. So this is the best way that we know how. IT is something that comes naturally to me, so I pulled this together. Raza is in the broadcasting engineering industry, so he pulled that aspect of it together. And then we have this amazing person with us, Jeff Jacobson. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about what makes you so unique to this.
So I've been practicing law for 30 years. I used to work as an administrative law judge with the Department of Employment Security, hearing cases. I've made decisions on about 10,000 cases during my career with the stay-at-home, with all the people that are having financial hardships. When you two reached out to me, I thought it was a no-brainer. Let's go help people. I thought it was going to be a one-time thing. We were going to answer a few questions and be done. And this is, I think we're starting our 3rd week in a row of answering questions. And I noticed we've gotten a lot already.
Yeah, we have tons of questions. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Sure.
I think you answered the one with Chantel Keeley.
Right. So, Angela, does pending issue mean I'll take even longer? Pending issue does mean that something's going on. I'm not really sure what the pending issue is. You can contact the department. I don't know whether this is a regular unemployment or whether this is the PUA. If it's a PUA, and this is for everyone, you need to get the 2 forms of identification to the state. If you haven't uploaded it, you got 21 days to upload it and get it to them. You need to also get the financial information to the state for the PUA, whether it's your 1099, whether it's your 1040s, whether it's a profit and loss statement, whatever it is, you need to get it to them. Otherwise, you will just sit in pending until the 21 days expires. I assume at that point, and I don't know because this is brand new, that after the 21 days, they'll close your claim and deny you. Kind of a catch-22, because if you're not eligible for benefits, then you automatically get PUA, but you need to submit that information if you haven't. Also, for those that are filing for PUA, speaking of that, you need to certify once a week. The instructions are on the website. You click on it and you certify once a week. For UI, for the regular unemployment, it's every other week, and they send you a notice of when it is. If at either of those you stop certifying, you're going to stop receiving benefits and your claim's going to close. So hopefully that helps on a bunch of people.
So I think the question was, what do you do if you're still waiting since April to answer, to get some kind of feedback from them?
Okay. So, and I think she was in Michigan.
Yeah, you are.
Yes. So I would contact the state. If you don't have a result, definitely contact the state. I would look into whether they have well, they will under federal law have the ability for you to file an appeal. But if it's taking close to 30 days for anyone in the nation under the federal law, you should file an appeal of your unemployment within 30 days.
Okay, and then Chantal also has a follow-up to that. She says when it says additional claim is required, what does that mean? Does that mean that she's denied?
I think she was, I have no idea. I've not seen that. A claim is when you file for unemployment benefits. It's one claim. If you file more than one, you would have additional claims. So I don't know what it means. Contact the state and see if you can find out why it says that. And just a heads up too for those that are listening. So I've been hearing problems with the state of Illinois. People are filing for unemployment benefits, the regular one, getting denied, and then they file for the PUA, and it's denying them because it's stating that they already have an unemployment claim and they're eligible to benefits on unemployment. It needs to be figured out. And unfortunately, the only way you can do that is to either call, or if you go to the right side of the IDS website, there's a chat box. It's artificial intelligence. It's not really helping that well. But if you get to the point where you can send them an email, that's what I would recommend, because they're supposedly getting back to people in 2 days with an answer to the question. So hopefully that helps.
That does. I think Angela has a question. A representative told me that she saw one issue, so she gave me a fax number to send social. I faxed and submitted OI and still says 3 pending, and now has to hold message like lots of people received. It's for PUA.
So I'm not really sure, Angela. To send your social. Okay. I'm guessing you're talking about the fact you need to send identification information, which is what I talked about earlier. On a PUA, you have 21 days to send information. One of them would be your driver's license. The other one would be your social security card. There's a list of the 2 identification pieces of information you can send to them. That's probably the best I can interpret from your question, is that they actually wanted a social security card.
Yeah.
And then Marie Diaz is talking about a PUA payment on hold. It should be processing. It shouldn't be on hold. You need to find out why it's on hold, assuming you submitted the identification and the tax information to them and you were denied on unemployment. If people file for PUA but have not filed for unemployment, they're requiring you to file for regular unemployment first and get denied.
Courtney has a question. If you want to address that one, Jeff. If you're collecting Courtney's question, if you're collecting PUA and are going back to work with cut hours, can you keep collecting unemployment? She's from Michigan.
So I'm assuming the regs are going to be similar to unemployment under the federal guidelines, that you're entitled to certain benefit. You're entitled to keep some wages. You need to, when you certify, report the wages that you receive. They'll calculate it. They'll let you know whether you're eligible or whether you're receiving too much. Also, if you go back to work, this is interesting. So PUA, you shouldn't be receiving, you shouldn't be a wage earner then. If you're a wage earner, you should be receiving regular unemployment benefits. So if you're going back as an independent contractor or 1099, then you do need to report it. So when you certify, and I don't know what the period of time is in Michigan, just answer the questions and it'll calculate it.
We have a guest who's waiting, Miss Lopez. I'm going to add you to the stream so you can go ahead and ask Jeff a question. Okay.
Miss Lopez, me.
Hi, Miss Lopez. Do you have a question for Jeff? Oh.
So while we're waiting to get that connected, Sarah, someone asked, is Uber drivers supposed to file under PUA or regular UI? So if you're an Uber driver and you're getting a W-2, you'll file under regular UI. If you get denied, so it's based on a 1-year benefit period. So if you haven't worked for, the full 1 year, and let's say you've only worked for a couple months, you will be denied regular unemployment benefits, but then you can go file for PUA. It'll be retroactive to the date you were severed. But yeah, so you should be filing now for regular UI and then PUA if you get denied.
I hope that answers your question. I cannot read your name. I think it's in Hindi. If you want to go ahead and write back to us on the same Facebook feed, that's right there in comments. We'll get to any additional questions that you have. So Jason is next.
Go ahead.
As an independent contractor, when certifying for unemployment benefits, what date should I use when referring to income received for checks that were sent to me via mail? Check date, deposit date, the date that postmaster placed in the mailbox. What's the date?
So it should be the date that you earned that money. So depending upon, so if it was wages from a couple weeks ago, you'll report it, or it was wages from Monday, just report the date that, I should say wages, but the date that you earned that money.
Okay. Another question on Uber/Lyft drivers in Illinois. They filed under regular UI. They got an ineligible letter. Then they applied PUA, and now their payment is on hold. What should they do? They're in Illinois.
Right. So if you're on hold and you don't know why, whether it's pending, whatever the status is, you want to call the state IDS, and I'm willing to bet Raza's going to have that marquee scrolling banner shortly. It's 1-800, and I don't know why I can't remember the other digits, but so you'll call them. It's from 7:30 to 6 p.m. I've been recommending people call at 7:30 in the morning. If you're having a hard time to get through, once again, use the chat. It'll be in this corner when you go to IDS's website. A box will pop up. It's artificial intelligence, so it's not the greatest at answering your question. In fact, I don't know anyone that it did answer the question, but you want to get to the point where you can actually send a message to the state and have someone get back to you. So hopefully that ends.
Hopefully. I got some private chats going here. If you guys want to comment them directly into the Facebook comments, it's a lot easier than to send me private chats. But either way, I'm going to get to your questions. One of them is a student. She got fired. She needs advice. Basically, her name is Sarah as well. She wants to know what to do. And I think this is just a general, how do I file for unemployment question?
Right. So if you're a student, a full-time student, then you're not eligible for unemployment benefits. You'd have to file, well, you'll get denied and then you file under PUA. The law states that if being a student is your full-time occupation and the job is a secondary, then you're not eligible for unemployment benefits. But under the federal law now, you'll be eligible for the pandemic unemployment assistance. But you got to file for UI first. So that's what you need to do.
Is there a direct site that they can go to instead of going through IDES to file PUA?
No. So you go to PUA, you go to the IDS for Illinois, you click on the individual tab, and then it'll have file for unemployment benefits, and then it'll have a choice on which one, PUA or regular UI, you want to click on. If this is your first time, file for regular unemployment benefits.
Good. Hopefully that helps your question, Ms. Lopez. Go ahead and follow the prompts and IDES to get to the PUA.
Right. So, and Catherine, interesting. IDS is informing us. Wow, we're getting a lot of messages. I just lost her. There we go. IDS is informing that 95% of us in PUA are in hold payment. Only 995 people have moved to paid. Everyone else is hold, and they all tell us just to wait. It's a huge, huge problem, and I completely understand the trauma of this. There's a lot of issues. I know that the representatives throughout the state are overwhelmed with their constituents calling in, and they don't have answers. Unfortunately, they're putting pressure. Everyone's putting pressure on the software company, Deloitte, to get this worked out. So there's nothing I can do as a lawyer to help with the fact that things are moving at a snail's pace. And I feel bad for you. I feel bad for everyone because you need this money. It's the basics to get by, to pay for your food, for your shelter. I mean, that's the intent.
Let's get to Jason's question. And regarding wage dates, what if the check is paid as a voluntary buyout for a canceled contractor for a canceled gig that was supposed to be in the summer? No work happened for the wages.
Okay, so Jason, just so we're clear, if this is a independent contractor 1099, it's not wages, because that means a lot as to what applies and whether it doesn't. So if it is wages and you're getting paid now, then yes, you report it as the day. You can report as the day you receive it. That would be fine. But if it's 1099 payments for jobs in the future, I don't know how the state is handling it. You can claim it as a payment, as a 1099 payment now. It's if it's for breach of contract, then if it's a settlement on a breach of contract type of concept, then it would be different. But I would claim it as the date that you received it. That's the only day you know, because you can't. Here's the thing: you can't receive it today and sit on it till the whole PUA is over with, and then cash it and claim it then. You need to claim it when you first know about it, which would have been the day that you received it. And that should be reasonable.
Okay. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment on our feed. Nico says he tried to register for 1099 regular unemployment, but it says he's already registered. What should he do?
Well, if he's filed a couple claims, then he would be. It's not registering. It's whether you've filed a claim. And so I don't know what registering means. He signed up years ago, and they still have their user ID and password. So if he's received a claim number, if he has a claim, then he needs to find out the status for his processing. And the website will show you the status. If not, if that's wrong, he needs to call IDS. If he can't get a hold of IDS, and once again, after 30 days expired, you're stuck with that, whatever the results is from IDS. So you should file an appeal within 30 days of whatever the problem is that's denying you benefits. To file appeal, you can get the form off my website at jeffjacobsonlaw.com. I have a web page which has the appeal form on it. It has the application too, although hopefully everyone's through that. So hopefully that helps you on that.
Ashley has a question. Do you want to get to Ashley's or jump to Jessica's?
Sure, you're going to have to read it. I can't keep up with all the questions.
I know. They keep coming. So Ashley's question is, someone who quit their W-2 job in 2019 and is now fully self-employed, will they ever be eligible for PUA? I got denied for regular unemployment, but when I try to apply for PUA, it says I still have a claim open in regular unemployment.
That's a huge problem. That was, I start off and saying that there's something wrong with the system. It's if you received a denial letter for your regular unemployment, then there's a problem. Either way, unfortunately, the only advice I can give to you is to call. If it's getting close to 30 days from the time you've been unable to get through, I would definitely file an appeal. I hate to keep saying this, but the appeal is the only way to protect your rights. The appeal is a formal hearing. There's an administrative law judge that hears the case. It's by phone. You have an opening. There's a direct examination. The other side can cross-examine you, assuming there is someone. And then there's a closing. Might only be a few moments. If the administrative law judge sees what the problem is, he can send an order directing the local office to issue your benefits, he or she.
Yep, and your numbers are scrolling on the bottom, Jeff. So anyone can go ahead and contact the 800 numbers or the 888 numbers for Illinois, Michigan, or Indiana. We can add more for every state, but Jeff is an expert right now on Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana. So anything that you guys want to ask him on this, he'll be right here answering your questions. I think this is a really interesting question that I didn't think about. Is severance pay from a layoff from COVID considered earnings that you put in your certification?
So good question.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that one since doing this, but
you get a gold star.
That's quite simple. So what's that?
I said he gets a gold star or she gets a gold star.
Right. So severance, it depends what it says on the check. If it says for pay for and list off the weeks, then it's considered wages. Otherwise, if it's just severance, then it's not considered wages. So it depends. If you receive your sick days and your holidays, those would be wages. So look at the check or the deposit and see how the employer has set it up.
Makes sense. Can I still get approved for PUA if I only have 2018 taxes?
So you're going to need to prove something for 2019 for 2020. So if you're a 1099, you had to have received a 1099 statement from the person by now. If you're a sole proprietor, you would have a profit and loss statement that you'll certify is accurate. So those are some of the documents. There's a list of documents for the PUA they want, but the last one says, and other documents that the state can rely on. I'm not sure what the parameter is, but it's not just something you print up and submit. It's got to be based on some good financial information. But in summation, you don't need a tax return. You can use other stuff, but you need something that's accurate.
Sorry, Jeff. I'm trying to text to tell me what the questions are that are coming through. Christina from one of the watch parties that Raza's having with Michigan is saying, I have an ongoing additional claim required issue. My first week said certification waived, and I never got paid. Second week, I got paid. The next 4 weeks says additional claims required with no guidance as to what it wants, except file a claim. That's all that keeps popping up. Okay,
man, I think I got cat fur all over me. So the first week would normally be a waiting period. A lot of states have a 1 week waiting period, but that was removed by the CARES Act. That's relevant to the PUA and the $600 pandemic assistance money. So I don't know, that normally you wouldn't have that 1 week. So you're unfortunately going to have to contact them and find out where your money is. I mean, that's just messed up.
There's a couple questions about non-monetary issues, Jeff, from both. I think this is both from Michigan. I don't know, Justin, where you're from. Oh, you're also from Michigan. They want to say, how can you fix the non-monetary issues? They keep filling out all the paperwork. They keep sending information in, and it's still saying that it's open.
Yeah, I don't know how you can get them to do that. That's a huge issue. Absent calling someone, it's the part of the problem is that the system is overwhelmed. And when I say the system, I mean from the software, the hardware, the human beings. That's the unfortunate problem of this pandemic. So you're going to have to just call and get a hold of a human being or email. Once again, don't let it go too long. You can file an appeal. That definitely will get someone's attention. So that may be the only way to do it.
Yeah, still more.
Jessica's got one. It's a little lengthy. So we'll see where we go with this. So I left my job back in July 2019 because of no childcare. I started a different job where I work only hours that I can get a babysitter. My child's school closed back in March, and I filed for unemployment. I'm being denied because I quit that job. I only need help for unemployment for the time I haven't been able to pick up hours at my child. Okay, so, and I think I get the gist of it, Jessica. So you probably reported that your last employment, you quit, and you should have been reporting that your last employment, you're still working. The different jobs should be what you're reporting, assuming that was a W-2 job. So it shouldn't be relevant to quitting your job. That being said, your last job, you probably don't have enough wages since it was July of 2019, and your third quarter of 2019 won't have any wages, assuming that the second one was an independent contractor. So you may have been denied because you didn't have enough of an average weekly benefit amount. Your benefit year wasn't enough money. And so you would be, regardless, eligible to PUA. But I would call and find out if they're denying you because of your 2019 job, if your new job was related to was a W-2. If your new job wasn't a W-2, you'll need to file for a PUA. If your new job was a W-2 and you made enough wages to get regular unemployment benefits, then you should fight for your regular unemployment benefits. Hopefully that helps.
So we got a couple questions from Uber/Lyft drivers that have been laid off. I love you guys. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. I relied on you guys heavily. So Vivian says, this may have already been asked. Please clarify if Uber/Lyft drivers are eligible for PUA, or are we now considered as employees and must convert our claims back to regular UI benefits? So it's a little bit of a different twist to the question that was already answered. And then just to follow up, when can they expect payments?
So it's a two-part thing, and I don't know the answer. I'm looking it up now. Okay, so it says Uber drivers are independent contractors. So if that's the case, then you can't file you won't get benefits as a regular UI. You'll have to file for UI. The second you get denied, file for the PUA, and you'll get benefits that way. You'll need to, as a PUA, submit 2 forms of identification, possibly, and you'll also need to submit your report as an Uber driver as to what your lost income was. Hi, Raza.
Raza can't hear you. I think it's our headsets that are not working right now.
Is yours working?
Yeah, my headset seems to be working. So I don't know. We may have.
So we could talk about him, and he won't hear us.
I'll put my iPhone in.
You want to put your iPhone in? Okay. Awesome.
And the reason I joined just real quickly is because we're getting a lot of Michigan questions, and I know a lot of people in the Michigan group asked, are these related to Michigan? So to add further confusion, I came out decked in my Boston gear. But the answer is yes. Over the course of the last 3 weeks, we have gotten Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan questions answered. So Jeff has not only been able to provide some guidance with that, but we've noticed in the comments people are able to help each other off. With Michigan, we're in a watch group situation where some of the questions aren't popping up. So I had initially come to help get those questions answered, but again, I can't hear. So let me try to work on these technical issues while Sarah and you continue.
Sounds good.
And I just want to answer Lori Beal. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. Okay. Hopefully that answers Lori. And I apologize. Some of you, I have one person that's complaining that I didn't answer the question. There's a long list. I'm trying to find your original question, but
we got to
I
his
can't.
If you're referring to the person with the Hindi alphabet writing in his name, we're not able to answer. We did go back and answer his Uber driver question. He also
it looked like it was
follow up.
it's Jessica.
Was it Jessica? Okay, let me see if I can find Jessica's question for you. For Yashid Prince, he says that my wife stopped working in 2019 December because of pregnancy, and after 1 year, on March 2020, she was supposed to join back to work, but coronavirus took her job offer away from her. Can she still file PUA?
So the PUA is dependent upon lost income because of that. That's an interesting thing. So I would submit to the state what your wages were before March 20th, whatever it is. If you have any documentation that you were on leave, FMLA, and something to show that you were supposed to be back March 20th, because you should be entitled to PUA then, as long as you've been impacted by it.
Some of the questions that Raza's been receiving, can we discuss the Illinois data breach?
We could. It was horrible. It shouldn't have happened. Hopefully they fixed it. I'm a little worried that there's other holes in the software because it was put together rather quickly. There's not a lot I can. There's no advice I can give. You have to use the software to get your benefits. So, yeah, there's not much more I could say about that.
Jessica Escobedo's question was, I left my job back in 2019 because of no childcare. I started a different job where I work only a few hours. And then
we answered that.
Yeah, I thought we did too. And then we can get a babysitter.
Okay.
Hey, Jessica, if you want to go back, we should have answered your question around 7:20, I believe. Yeah. That's when that question should be there. So let me scroll back down.
Yeah. All right. So let me see if I can. I'm going to let you, Sarah, do the question reading.
Yeah. What if you accidentally clicked that you quit your job and payment was not made for that week? This is from Joanne. There's a lot of data entry issues and a lot of data entry questions when they go into certification. Can you just go through that just really quickly? What are the highlights that we need to make sure that we hit on? And what's the course of action? How do we correct our issues?
So you once you click submit on the certification, whether it's online or you do it over the telephone, it's final. The only way you can correct it is you have to talk to a representative, you have to call, and as you know, it's taking a long time. So make sure you get it right. One of the things you can do is you can look at the certification questions. If you search on teleserve, TELESERVE, and the Illinois Department of Employment Security, it has a pamphlet. It has sorry, there's a huge noise here. It has a list of all the questions you're going to be asked. So you'll know them ahead of time. What I would do when you get to, are you unavailable for work? And this is where everyone gets tripped up. What days, how many days are you unavailable for work? It's 0 if you're staying home because of COVID-19. If you're, just staying home because of something else, then it may be a different number. But if you're staying home because of COVID-19, whether it's because of the governor's order, because your kids aren't in school, it's 0. And that's where I see people making a lot of mistakes. But if you make an error and submit it, you got to call. If you make an error and don't submit it, you can't go back. If you're online, close that window out and start all over. If you're on the telephone, hang up and call back. It won't save any of your information. So hopefully
I think that answered a lot of questions that people were having as far as data entry issues go and how can we go back and rectify. And again, those numbers are scrolling towards the bottom there for each of the states that we feel confident answering your questions for. Right down there, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. So feel free to go ahead and contact them. There are some cheat sheets where you can skip prompts and stuff just to get to the live agent. But you're still going to have to hold and wait for somebody to answer. So there's no bypassing that. And I know the representatives are doing the best job that they can and answering questions as well as fixing data issues as fast as they can. So Jason asks, no one is discussing the effects to the institution that rely on large gatherings such as live theaters. I don't know if this is an unemployment question or not, but what he wanted to know was, are we going to be able to stay on UI PUA until 2021 and beyond? Or do you think that's
So no, it's you're not going to be able to. The PUA ends at July 25th, I think. Unemployment benefits in Illinois are only good for 26 weeks. The federal government has kicked in an additional 13 weeks. So unless that gets extended, your unemployment benefits will end at that point. Interesting question, Jason, because if businesses aren't open and people have run out of unemployment benefits and the federal PUA, I don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully we don't have that situation.
Maggie actually has a good question. Thanks, Maggie, for tuning in again. She was with us earlier this week, but she's still a little unclear. So all of you guys out there, as long as we're doing this, feel free to call us. Feel free to engage with us. We're here to help you. So for someone who got a PPP loan on May 1st, at what point is she able to start certifying for UI again? She applied for UI as a W-2 employee of her own S-Corp with an out-of-work date of April 1st.
So once you start paying yourself with the PPP loan, then you report that as wages. If you pay yourself more than your weekly benefit amount, then you won't be eligible. So once you stop paying yourself from that wages, you'll be able to apply for unemployment benefits again. That is the catch-22 of the PPP, because if you pay yourself the amount of the weekly benefit amount, you won't be entitled to the weekly benefit amount. You won't be entitled to any dependency credits you get, and you won't be entitled to $600 a week. So sometimes the PPP is not something that's beneficial, that being on regular unemployment is more beneficial. So you may want to decide to not use the PPP for wages for yourself and just consider it a loan and pay 2% interest on it, or, return it.
You know what? Jennifer asks, just for clarification, she said she was a little confused. Is Jeff saying that we all have to send in our driver's license and social security card for PUA? That is not what she had heard. Or is it only if IDES requests it?
So it's only if it's requested, the identification. A lot of people were asking about, is asking for social security information. So if it requests it, when you go through, when it says you have to submit certain documents, then you have to upload those. But no, if you filed for regular unemployment and were denied, more likely than not, they already have your identification information, so you won't have to. The problem is a lot of people that are on independent contractors or sole proprietors, the state doesn't have any information on them. No one's ever reported their wages. So it's just for those. And thanks for clarifying that question. You get a gold star too.
Absolutely. Well, glad to do that. And again, like we had said before, this group is very much open to participants from Michigan. We had done this group, and you're only allowed to change the name every so often, so we weren't able to include that as Jeff's expertise kind of grew on that, and as people have been weighing in on that. Let's start getting to some of these Michigan questions. What does stop payment indicator mean on 4 weeks worth of certification for unemployment? She's saying she cannot get through on the phone in Michigan.
So she's going to have to. So so there's a couple possibilities, and I'll go off what the Illinois law is and federal. If for some reason she answered wrong on certification or didn't do the certification right, and so she didn't do it, it would stop. The other problem may be you were getting unemployment benefits, but your employer protested, sent in a document saying you're not eligible for benefits, and the state believes that the employer is correct and is denying you benefits because of that. So the only way you can get this answered is by talking to a rep. I can only guess at the millions of possibilities, but unfortunately you're going to have to call. I don't know what Michigan's hours are, but it's right on the banner, their phone number. So unfortunately, sorry, that's the only solution I have for you.
All right. Just real quick, and then looks like we got a call-in video question. We'll get to Gabby with that right after this question from Meredith from Michigan, who says, appealed, filed, no answers, calls don't go anywhere. She emailed her state rep, nothing, emailed the Senate office, still waiting, cannot get a hold of anyone. It's frustrating. That's a comment. What's your advice to her?
So if you've mailed in or faxed in the appeal, it's going to take time. You'll probably, because you're at the front, you should get within 2 weeks the date for your hearing for the appeal. But, unfortunately, there's not a lot. I can tell you, make sure you keep a record of the date that you mailed your appeal in case for some reason they didn't receive it. That part, so the state is divided into a bunch of divisions. So the appeals division, it doesn't really have an overwhelming amount of work. So, the people that are filing appeals now, that should relatively go smoothly. You should have a hearing in about 3 weeks. You should get notice in a week from when they received your appeal. And if you're having a problem with that, that's a different phone number. That's not the number here. To contact IDS, it's a different number. That being said, I don't know how many employees with IDS are actually in the office to answer phone, so that may be the problem. But look up the appeal division phone number, and you're going to call that.
Okay, and again, choose
You'll
from
probably
Michigan.
have that.
So look up the appeals from Michigan. It may not be the same as the
Right.
next ruling. And I know we were going to get to Gabby, but it looks like Gabby disconnected. Sorry, do we have another phone caller coming in? Nita?
No, we don't. Actually, her question was answered. So if you
Oh,
wanna
okay,
get that one,
fantastic.
I'll be right back.
Vivian's?
Yes.
All right. Vivian asked, we're hearing today of changes of certification requirement for Uber and Lyft from PUA to regular unemployment. Will there be a message added to the site to instruct on how to file or what we need to do? I'll take, well, Jeff, why don't you answer from that perspective? And I know from these, we have our daily seminars so we can address these questions as they come up. But Jeff, any idea about what Vivian asks?
So, I did a little research, maybe it's 30 minutes ago now, and it appears that Uber drivers are W-2. However, even if you've been a 1099, and sorry, I have cat hair all over me. Even if you're a 1099, most jobs are probably W-2, and you should argue it's a W-2 job and that you're entitled to W-2 benefits because there's a lot of jobs that really aren't 1099s. I haven't talked about that in quite some time, but I would follow regular UI in the state of Illinois, claim that it is a UI, and try to get benefits under that because you should be eligible.
All right. Quickly, a question from Michigan here. Heather asks, I'm on FMLA and it expires before my doctor to order to return to work. Am I still eligible for unemployment benefits after the FMLA expires?
So once the FMLA expires, you're supposed to be able to go back to work. If you can't go back to work, you'll be entitled to benefits. You're going to have to report to the state what your lost income is or your W-2. That's the FMLA is a good question. The other thing is, so you should be receiving money under FMLA if you work for a company that has less than 500 employees. The first 2 weeks, they have to require you to use your sick pay or your vacation pay. And then for the remaining 10 weeks, there's a formula on how much they have to pay you. So I would contact Human Resource at your employer to ask about that.
All right.
Or
we got
payroll.
Payroll. We got a question jumping back to Illinois now. Jennifer asks, we are being told by IDAS reps that if we pass credit identity check and we're not asked to send in proof of identity on the PUA system, then we do not have to. Are you saying we should anyways?
No. And someone clarified that a little while ago, only if they ask you for the identification. So if they already have all your information, you don't have to submit it and don't upload it. It's just for those that are true PUAs. They haven't filed a claim. They're not in the IDS system, and it'll ask for their identification and tell them they have 21 days to upload that information, and it'll list off the identifications they need to upload. Those are the only people that need to submit that. So thanks again for clarifying that. If they don't ask for something, you don't have to submit it.
All right. And just as we are going over this, let's procedurally, I know you guys briefly mentioned it before, just to talk to, it looks like we have some new viewers as well about what it is we're doing. Sara Sadat, Jeff Jacobson, and myself have been doing this now for about 3 weeks. This is our daily seminar. We try to do it daily, Monday through Friday, to kind of talk about and help answer questions. As we started, it was initially the Illinois Unemployment Guidance Group. We started getting a lot of questions and doing a lot of collaborative and information sharing with Indiana. And of course, we have now kind of grown with some Michigan viewers. Again, what we always say is what we can answer, or while we're getting the questions, we see a lot of collaboration in the comments, which is what we're trying to foster for people to be able to get some information from other people who have kind of gone through it. So we'll continue to do that. I work in the broadcast field, so kind of handle some of the technical issues with this. And when things go wrong technically, I feel like I'm at fault, except for when my wife, Sara Sadat, the IT person, has an issue on her part. And Jeff Jacobson here is the expert who makes it all happen and answers all the questions. He's got the knowledge of that. I got to say, after 3 weeks, though, Jeff, I think I'm learning some of the key points. Let's see if there is anything I didn't get to here. Beth asks here, Illinois PUA, I don't understand the payment hold. I have one pending issue. I have no Dropbox. It just says home and inbox, so I can't see it. I called, they can't see anything. She's asking what to do.
Yeah, I'm going to read her question again. I don't know what the pending issue is, so you're going to, unfortunately, if you can't get a satisfied answer, and, as I've been saying, so go to this on the IDS website, right in the corner down here, there's a chat box. Send in your question. Supposedly someone will call you that knows the answer within 2 days. Otherwise, you've got to file an appeal to get an answer, because if 30 days goes by, you're lost. And by the way, if you don't mind, if you like the answers, you like the help that I'm giving, if you don't mind going to Google, searching on jeffjacobsonlaw.com and just rating it, I appreciate it. It's very helpful. Also, Roz, I want to point out that without you and Sarah, I'd just be sitting in my office talking to myself. So you are a critical part of this, far more beneficial than me, because
I do appreciate that. And let's kind of give a backstory too as to how this collaboration came. I'm the union vice president of a broadcast union, and a lot of these people that we represent work in the sports industry. And as many of you can imagine, with sports completely on hiatus right now, that industry was somewhat decimated. So I was trying to get my guys all the way from Texas to Illinois to Indiana to Michigan information that they needed. And at the same time, Jeff, who I've been friends with for multiple years, I see doing Facebook Lives, kind of going over the information that I needed. So we started this collaboration. It started off as a way to help members of my union. And as we did this, Sarah, as she mentioned, is a trustee herself. She wanted to help people out in the community. Jeff was helping his people out as well. We were like, let's do it. So he used to sit right here with us, and we used to go over this. And now this is before the stay-at-home orders all of a sudden just blasted all over the country. As everyone recalls, it kind of happened like this. We went from what's going on to everybody stay at home. So what we decided at that point is let's get this collaboration going. Let's still get the questions out there. Let's still get the questions answered, but do it in this format. And I think it's been a successful endeavor ever since, and that we've had a lot of people say that we've been useful and helpful to them.
Right. I remember those phone calls where, should I sit in the same room with you or not? It was before it became a huge problem. I guess I have a little of a benefit. I'm an essential business under the governor's order, so I can move about and stuff. But, I was very concerned about my health and my family's health. So I didn't want to be catching or spreading. So, yeah, we changed it where we're now, 5 minutes apart instead of 5 feet.
I got to put Jason's comment up. This is great. Jason reiterated what you said. Law offices of Jeffrey Jacobson, Google, and send some love. Jason, thank you. That's exactly what we want to do. I mean, Jeff has been great enough. I mean, he's an attorney. Attorneys aren't cheap. Usually the billable hour starts as soon as you call him. But Jeff has, gosh, now for 3 weeks, given us an hour of his day every day. I think more than an hour today. But again, our main objective is just to get as many questions answered as possible. So, Jason, thank you for that comment. And let's see what other questions we can ask or answer. Will there be any change for 1099 W-2 workers? She has 2 jobs. I don't know.
So, right. So you first want to apply for unemployment benefits as a W-2. Hopefully you have enough during your benefit year to be able to get something in the way of unemployment benefits. So how it works, if you get $1 in unemployment benefits, you get $600 for your under the federal program. So you get $601 for that week till the end of July. So you definitely want to try to get unemployment benefits. If for whatever reason you can't, then you have to file for PA. So if you're having trouble with the UI, make sure that it's really that you're entitled to unemployment benefits, regular unemployment benefits, and file and fight. You got appeal rights. So hopefully that helps. And it looks like Raza has put me as the main person. So let me talk about someone had asked questions. They're on FMLA. They're sick. They received their paycheck. Just got deposited. So if you've received a paycheck, you have to report those wages if you just received it. And it was for, a previous time. So if you received your wages, when you certify, report those wages that week, and they'll take care of it. You don't look like Raza.
What, the lack of Boston hat gave it away? No.
And the shirt.
And the shirt. No, you're right. You know what? I am doing double duty, making sure that the kids are fed. So I had to step away for 2 seconds because everybody can't eat at the same time, right? So everyone wants their specific dinner at their specific time. Got little ones. So Jin Hee, I don't know if we got to Jin Hee's question, Jeff.
I just answered Jin Hee, and it actually looks like we've 2 things. Sarah, it looks like we've answered all the questions so far, and 7 p.m. is when we should be doing this. It's if you guys like 7 p.m. better, feel free to just quickly put a chat that 7 p.m. is better time. But that's what the polling was saying, and I know we haven't been able to keep up with the questions tonight.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I apologize if we skipped over anybody's question or if we overlooked anyone's questions. The way that the Illinois and Indiana Unemployment Guidance Group is working is if you post it on the page, any of our experts are able to answer those questions for you, including Jeff Jacobson, who spends, I don't know how long answering some of those questions because he's in there in the middle of the night. I see like his replies to people's questions kind of coming through. So, we do this.
My wife thinks I'm on it too much.
But it's keeping you occupied, right? It's keeping you busy. We're busy bodies. If we don't do this, then I don't know what else we'd be doing. And it's a great way of helping people. It's like that sense of like, oh my God, I'm doing something instead of just sitting on my hands. And I know Jeff is very much like me and my husband. So we like to do anything and everything possible to help people. And unemployment, not having the ability to pay your bills, put food on the table, anything else like that, really hits home because we've all gone through this before. So I just want to make sure that you guys all have that available to you. If you have any questions. Yeah, Angie actually asked a question.
Yeah, before it scrolls off. So I have no pending issues and no adjudication, but my payment is on hold. What does that mean? It says I'm eligible. So if you're eligible, you should be receiving your benefit payments after you certify. You have to certify. If you certified and you still don't get it, you need to find out. But it's if you have no pending issues, you should get it. And then I
What
saw
about the
another
PUA
one.
that payments on hold?
So you have to, first off, you have to certify for PUA, so they're not going to send you a payment till you do the certification. Some of you have to submit some financial information. And if you haven't submitted it, go to the website. It'll have what you need to submit, the 1099s, the 1040 forms, or other data to show you've lost wages.
The other
So
question is, what about that hold of payments, right? So what's up with the hold payments in Illinois? There's a lot of them in the status for PUAs.
right. So they have to go through everyone. They have to confirm the information they received. I don't know how Deloitte has programmed it. I will look into seeing what the time frame is for those on hold at the PUA. See if I can get an answer, and then next time we're on, I'll be able to answer that because that's obviously a problem.
Okay. I think everyone did Sunday. I don't know. There's no pending issues right now, according to one of yours, which is good.
Yeah, and so let's just in a nutshell, and then we'll call it a night. And I apologize for everyone that needs help. You can reach out to me. You can text message or call 331-222-9529. But it's the regular unemployment was taking a long time to get worked out. And here's a system that's been around, 75 years, since I think 1933. I'm not sure, but I think it was around that. And PUA just started it started in April. Illinois didn't get it up and running till May 11th. I assume all the delays, all the problems just got multiplied because people were getting laid off in groups and it wasn't as traumatic for unemployment, although it was horrible. For PUA, everyone was sitting for May 11th, and then just everyone applied at one time. So my guess is they're not able to process it, but I'll hopefully have an answer if we're on tomorrow. And I'm guessing we're going to be on tomorrow because Raza looks really healthy.
You know what? My back did get injured today, and I was like, sorry, you're going to have to do this show without me. But I saw all the questions that came in. Obviously, looks like our 7 o'clock time is a little more busy sometimes than the 7 o'clock. So I was like, you know what? I better get out there and help.
All right. Jeff will let you
I've got to
go.
unfortunately get going.
Okay.
So one of the things that I guess they want us to make sure that we look at is just doing a little bit more research on Uber/Lyft. So when we come back to you next time, we'll make sure that we have some of those answers, some of those questions answered. And in the meantime, if you want to add more, go ahead and add more to the Illinois and Indiana Unemployment Guidance Group, your specific questions, and we will answer them for you. Thank you so much. We're going to call it a night.
Well,
sorry for those that I couldn't answer.
We'll get back to you guys tomorrow, but while we let Jeff free here, I want to also let you know that we've started collaborating as well with the PUA only COVID-19 Illinois group. I've been in touch with the administrator there, and it's been very nice to talk because, again, the whole thing is that we're trying to help as many people out. And of course, other people are out here too, other groups that are trying to share these resources, get the information out there. So if there's any questions on your group as well that you'd like answered, hopefully we can collaborate, get that information out. But the real goal here is just to make sure people get the answers they need. So we are going to continue doing this daily so long as we can and get that information out there. Thank you very much. Jeff Jacobson was the gentleman who just quickly made his way to the door. This is Sara Sadat. I'm Raza Siddiqui. We're going to be doing this daily. If we didn't get to your questions today, we will continue this conversation daily for as long as we can. So
and just for Jinhee, I know your question was answered earlier. If you were not paying attention at that time, or if you skipped over it and wanted to review it again, this video is going to be saved along with numerous other videos that we have had on Illinois and Indiana Unemployment Guidance Group, and that is on Facebook. So go ahead and get to our Facebook page. That is where you will find this video along with all the other videos that we've done in the past. Who knows, you may have a night where you just want to be soothed to sleep. Jeff does have a very soothing voice. You can go ahead and listen to some of those questions that were brought up. So yes, the video will be saved. You guys can reach us back out here on our Facebook site as well as anywhere else. I really, really appreciate everybody calling in today. And I'm so sorry if we skipped over any questions. We'll be back with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.